Hey Billionaire, I did my makeup for the first time. It's so cute. Anyway, let's bring back a part 2 to a video that I created last year, and I promised that I would bring updates to this very same topic in that video, okay? It involves a well-favored and renowned book that has helped many brands and corporations since the publishing of this said book. I've got my hands on this information, and I surely plan to use it not just for myself but for the community, as I am doing here on this channel by being a resource and sharing this information with you. Now, grab your notes, a drink, and make sure you replay this video back to help you become the next viral creator. This book, as you can see in the thumbnail, is called The Guide to Going Viral, written by Brendan Kane. This video is going to be structured in a way that I am basically just going to be informing you of the notes that I've taken over the course of 2 months, starting last year in December. For context, I read the book literally around this time last year, 2025, and I didn't do anything with it. I read it, I soaked it in, and I didn't do anything with it because my rabbi says that sometimes it's just best to read a book all the way through before you start taking notes, because taking notes during a first time read, it doesn't really help your brain retain the information. So that's what I did, and I just kind of like sat on it intentionally. Though I would rather wait and give my all into something than rush, right? So I didn't want to do anything. I read it and I was like, okay, cool, okay. So I prioritized bringing a segment here on this channel, first starting with the introduction in this video here, and then now today an update to hold myself accountable and to bless you with this wise information. The information that I've started taking notes on is going to be extremely helpful for you today, and I literally cannot wait to start incorporating this research into my own content, how I make my own content moving forward. First key point that I wrote down is here. The key is to create content that can be enjoyed and valued by anyone without losing the subtext that is important to your core target audience. Universal appeal content. The point is basically saying how important it is for you and I to master content that will appeal to anyone regardless of who we are targeting. Yes, it is necessary, as it says in this key point, to have a targeted audience in mind and to know who your target audience is, but not so much so that you forget that your content also needs to be able to appeal to the rest of the world. I think this is so brilliant because it is something that I wasn't taught when I studied business administration and marketing. You kind of get lost in your target audience, and the rest of the world definitely needs to be included in your content creation process, simply because you get more views that way, you get more optimization that way, you get more recognition that way. Like I mentioned, in school, I obviously heard how important it is to have a target audience, but I didn't hear how important it is to appeal to an audience bigger than your target audience as well. Now, this requires very much strategic strategy. And wait, did I just say clearly, to focus on your target audience and a universal audience requires skill, but that's what research and analytics can bring to you, and practice, obviously. But I think this is super golden. What do you think? Let me know in the comments about this first key point. My next key point is successful marketing at scale requires you to develop a strategy to grab attention, to stand out from the vast sea of content out there. Then you need to hold the attention by having substance so people receive value. At that point, you can maximize attention by monetizing it effectively. There is power in platform-specific content. Disclaimer, these key points are actually quotes from the book. I wanted to make sure that was known because these are not my key points. These are key points from the book. Yeah, forgot to mention that. I did my makeup a little different today. I'm sorry, I'm distracted because I haven't worn makeup in such a long time, and I thought it would be so cool to have a full face of makeup on my channel again. If you go throughout my videos, you'll see that sometimes I'm natural, sometimes I'm makeup, but it was always kind of like a nice balance. But majority of my videos for the past 3-4 months has just been plain face. This is literally the first time in a while that I've worn makeup, and I just think I look pretty. So let's unpack this key point, the second key point. Essentially, this key point stood out to me from the book. This is a quote again, because he is encouraging his readers to prioritize a strategy where storytelling is the focal point. Not only does your hook matter, but also the middle of your content, or the body, as we learned in English class. and also the conclusion or the end of your video. This is so because most viewers are on social media are looking for curiosity, an emotional appeal, relatability, or to be informed in some way, to learn something new from a reel, right, that they have stopped and watched. And so if you keep them engaged the whole way through, then they will also be looking for a satisfying conclusion. Most of us have short attention spans now, and so if they are hooked in by a reel that they're scrolling, they stop and they're hooked in from the hook, and then that person is able to hold the attention because now they're intrigued, now they're curious, now there's an emotional appeal, now there's relatability, or there's something that they're learning throughout your reel. Then they're looking, and for me personally, now they want to see the end, and if the end is satisfying and it's like, oh, okay, that was a good reel, then that will inspire engagement, a like, a repost, a comment. That type of creative process from you and I is the reason why this is a key point here that I wrote down, because that type of skill set is very much needed. Okay, people don't want to be drewed in and then get bored there in the middle. If it's going to feel like a waste of time, they're probably never going to watch any of your videos again. I'm sure that it's happened to me. Or they don't want to be drawn in, and then the middle is good, but then the ending is like, bruh, I just wasted my time. You know what I mean? So that's why the beginning, the middle, and the end in a reel is very important. We don't want to leave our people high and dry. Hey Billionaire, Benable is your go-to place for recommendation. I love recommending different products or things that I love to my favorite people. But on Benable, it doesn't even have to be your favorite people. It can be anyone, which I love. So shout out to the CEO of Benable and his team for tracking me down in my emails so that I could be a part of this invite-only platform. How it works is that you can make different lists of recommendations from gaming, traveling, airports, hotels, restaurants, beauty, fashion, recipes, snacks, books, and the list goes on, and allow the users of Benable to browse through your list. Now, if anyone purchases anything from your list specifically, you will receive commission. I've already received commission so far. I'm up to like $15, I think. Skip the wait list like I did. Use my invite link below and subscribe to my channel. Back to the video. These are the steps of going viral every time. With time, your views will grow higher, but this is like a foundation listed in the book that Brendan Kane, a top researcher, marketer who's been in this business for a very long time, who's seen the results, this is what he suggests. And as an entrepreneur and content creator, this is very important for me in the future brands that I work with, because I want to be able to confidently promise them views, and views that's going to lead to sales, or at least engagement, or even brand awareness. I want that on my shoulder, because then I'm going to become a very valuable creator, and a lot of brands are going to work with me because of that, right? Yeah. Also, if you remember, there was a little note that I wrote for myself in red, and it was underlined. This information is basically to remind myself that it's very important to just focus on one platform, because when I first started out, going on 2 to 3 years ago, I was being unfair to myself by trying to focus on 3 different platforms at the same time. I burnt out very quickly, despite the fact that I was warned that as a beginner creator, it would be best to just focus on one platform. I did my own thing. I burnt out, and now my primary focus moving forward 2026 and on is Instagram. Instagram is like where I literally make content. TikTok, I could care less, and obviously I still post YouTube videos, but once I master Instagram, then I'm going to focus on mastering YouTube. Okay, the last point that I'm going to reveal is that understanding the right creative process and aligning content with audience preferences can pave the way for consistent and predictable virality. This book is focused on mastering storytelling techniques that align with your business goals and objectives. Grab attention, hold attention, monetize attention. When you figure out your strategy and you have analytical data to confirm your creative process, basically how you're going to make reels in the future, then and only then will your consistent and predictable virality model prove to work. This book is all about results. Like I said, in the beginning of this book, he lists a whole bunch of testimonials from different people, renowned brands, business owners, all of the things, talking about how this book has changed their lives, and even some of them talking about how they went to a conference of his. He's like that, and he's going to produce results. This book is not about outdated marketing strategies that most brands use, and they don't even realize that it's outdated or that it's not working or it's not a good strategy. And it's definitely not about what I learned in college, as I mentioned earlier, that doesn't protect me from forever changing algorithms or even new trends that pop up every now and again, right? This model from The Guide to Going Viral, written by Brendan Kane, his research and suggestions are beneficial to help us as creators go viral without the limitations to trends and algorithms. In conclusion, I'm going to say that it is best to find your strategy by conducting analytical research. Use this strategy once you conduct that analytical research. Study your content once you use the strategy and you begin to make content using that strategy. Study that content, see what is working, adjust the strategy if some things aren't working, and you see where you can adjust, and you see where your views decline based on different videos that you're putting out, right? And then basically continue to conduct content and strategic experiments until you see consistent and predictable results every time. Engagement matters way more than views. To me, if you spark engagement, then you have favor with your audience, and that's key. Some bonus information that I also learned is that visuals, text, and the structure of your reel affects the way your audience will respond to your content. Obviously will have an effect on your username, and so then in their mind, every time they see your username, they're going to think of that reel or think of how well you are with creating content, and that's going to spark engagement and favor, okay? Don't worry, I know that this video is extremely beneficial. Maybe you don't want it to end, but subscribe, like, and leave a comment just to help this video reach other people, and also for you to be notified when I upload a part 3, because I think now this is going to be a series that I continue as I continue to read this book, and I'm just going to be giving you updates along the way to help you and I understand how to dominate this creator industry space and not be held back by algorithms, okay? So thanks for watching. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Be blessed, stay focused, look up because Jesus loves you, and I'll see you next time. Peace.